Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Lavella, and we are continuing our adventure in our forever world with spring winds. Oh, today, well, I went 6 weeks without putting up an episode, and I just uploaded the last one, and here we are. I'm making another one back to back. Uh, I'm going to tell you a story, and let's go ahead and do the stat check. I literally have done nothing uh, since the last episode, but we'll scroll through this real quick just so that we, keep it consistent and people can see if they care. If you don't care, this is a good time to go get a drink or go to the bathroom or grab some chips or whatever you want to do. Um, I am going to scroll through this kind of quick because, like I said, the it's the exact same. Other than I punched two blocks of dirt and ate a potato, so that's the only difference that should be in here. Uh, Basically, I'm going to build and talk, and I'm probably not going to do a whole lot of explanation about the build because I think it's going to be a pretty simple thing to follow. I'm not doing anything complicated. We're going to work on the storage. I still want to go caving. I still want to go caving. Oh, it makes me crazy that we still haven't done that yet. But if I go caving and I get all these goodies and then I have to fight for storage, it's just going to frustrate me more. So I'm just going to make myself get it done. I want it done. Hopefully, I'll get it done tonight. If I have to record back to back 5 episodes today, then so be it. It has to be done. It has to be done. So anyway, let's I don't even know what I have anymore. We're gonna need some scaffolding. I don't think we're gonna need more than one stack of dirt. If we do, we can come back. I don't think we're gonna need any sandstone. Pretty sure we're gonna need oak. Maybe some dark oak. We might need that for scrap stuff. We might need some ladders. Mm, Wait, what was that? Probably going to need those. Oh, probably going to need those. Mm. And I have no clue how I'm going to do the roof. No clue whatsoever. Here's some more oak. Um, I don't want to fill up my inventory to the point that I can't craft anything. Okay, we have plenty of oak. I was a little concerned that I may have to stop and chop trees. We're going to grab 2 axes because we're going to be doing some chopping as we build because I'm sure I will misplace stuff. Okay, that should be enough to get us started. So I'm going to tell you the story of my Aunt Sandra. My father is 82 this year. He'll be 82 in November. And I'm going to have to pause every so often so I can figure out what I'm doing. Okay, I want that to be here. No. Actually, I think we're going to do stay off. Alright, let's do that again. Actually, oh, it's time to sleep. I've been playing on a Skyblock server I'm sure if you've seen my looked at my channel at all, you've seen I have a series on a Skyblock server. The Skyblock server is owned and run by Vintage Beef. I should have grabbed a shovel. Um, it's free. You don't have to be a patron. So if you want to play there, you can. Um, he has this server, and I'm really having a lot of fun with it. And I didn't go far enough. Let's bring that out one more. It's probably still not far enough, but it's better than having to go up every time. Okay, let's do that. That leaves 3. Yeah, let's do that. Um, but anyway, on the Skyblock server, your little Skyblock island, you don't have to worry about mob spawning. So it's almost like playing in peaceful mode. That didn't go right. So I'm going to have to be careful not to forget that lighting is a thing. Dadgummit. Supposed to be telling a story. Okay, so anyway, um, my father is, there are 8 children altogether, and my dad was not the baby, but next to the baby. That didn't work right. He was born, and then there was a brother born after him, and anyway, he has an older sister named Sandra. Well, my mom passed several years ago, and Aunt Sandra's husband had passed several years, well, not several, a few years before my mom did. And uh, my mom is not my natural mother, unfortunately. Um, so they were my I call them my parents, even though technically, anyway. I think mom and dad were married. I want to say 30 years, somewhere in that range. Anyway, long time. Well, Aunt Sandra and Uncle Travis, they knew each other like since they were kids, and uh, I want to say they were married for like 60 years. So when she lost him, we really thought we were going to lose her too. I mean, you hear about it, people that they literally die of a broken heart, you know, and that's what we were worried was going to happen with her because he was her life, you know. So anyway, when my dad lost my mom, my aunt Sandra had already gone through all of that, and she was there for him. I mean, she'd always been what you would call a good sister, but she really stepped up and was there for my dad. And like she would call him all the time and check on him, and they started a routine of, you know, they would on Thursdays they would go antiquing, and on this day they would go do this, and on that day they, you know, not every single day, but you know, at least twice a week they were going and doing something. And then the oldest brother, who is, oh goodness, I think he's mid to late 90s. He's getting up there. His health. Well, he lost his wife. Uh, also, somebody that he'd been with for more than 50 years for sure. I can't tell you for sure how long they were together, but it was for more than 50 years. So we're talking, you know, life mate here. And so when he lost her, again, we weren't sure he was going to survive it. And so the three of them just kind of like pulled together, to support each other and be there for each other. And so then they got into this routine where my dad would go to Sandra's house like on Monday mornings, and she would make him what we call a sloppy egg sandwich, which is basically a fried egg sandwich. And she would cook that for him every Monday. And no, it's not fancy. It's not like she was some world famous chef, but it was just something, uh, they did. And then, he'd hang out and visit. And then, if she needed her yard mowed or she needed help with something, fixing something in the house or whatever, he did that for her. And so anyway, they had that going. And then on Thursdays, they would go to my uncle's house because, I mean, he still can get around, but he has to use a walker, and it literally takes him like 2 hours from the time he gets out of bed and makes it to the bathroom and takes a shower and gets his clothes on and then gets to wherever he wants to sit down. It's like a 2 hour process, where for most of us it's 30 minutes or less. So anyway, um, so on Thursdays they would go see him, and like one week, uh, Sandra would make the main part of the meal, and Dad would do the dessert. And then the next week, Dad would do the main part of the meal, and Aunt Sandra would do the dessert. That kind of a thing. Well, um, uh, so they've been doing that for a while, and uh, she would call Dad, all the time, and just to chit chat, even if they weren't going anywhere or he wasn't coming over or whatever. Uh, they talked on the phone at least twice a day, if not more. And so she's not just his sister; she's his best friend. Well, anyway, she she has two adult daughters and several grandchildren, and I don't know how many great grandchildren, and still pretty active and everything. And then one day, Dad gets a call that she's in the hospital in a coma because she'd had a stroke. So they go to the hospital, and uh, they don't know for sure what's going on. They have to run tests. They have to, do the whole MRI and the CAT scan and all that kind of stuff. Well, they found a mass in her brain, and they went in. They like drilled into her head, and they took the mass out so they could do a biopsy on it. But they took all of it that they could, and they sent it off. And their first estimation was that they thought she'd had a stroke. Well, when they were estimating that the mass was, it could be some kind of a virus, it could be this or that and the other, and, with antibiotics or with treatment, maybe this or that and the other, and they were guesstimating everything. Well, then they ran a test, and they found out it was a tumor, and it was cancerous, and it was malignant, of course, because it's cancerous. And well, I say of course. I'm assuming that all cancer is malignant. I'm not a doctor, but their initial estimation was that she would have about a year and a half. Then they got the results back on the kind of cancer it was, and come to find out, I don't know the name of it, but the kind of cancer that it was a very fast-growing cancer, and they did not uh, feel like that it was the kind that could be successfully treated. So her estimated time of surviving went from a year and a half to a few months. Well, uh, they weren't sure when they woke her up if she was going to have any brain damage, from what happened and, being in the coma and everything. And she came out of it and she seemed fine. Obviously, she was tired and weak, but she, didn't have any trouble speaking, and she seemed just as feisty and stubborn as ever. And so she was ready to get out of the hospital. She couldn't get out of the hospital fast enough. And they were telling her she was going to need hospice to come in the house to help take care of her. And she told them they were full of poop. And that's not exactly what she said, but I keep this family friendly. And she said she didn't need any help, and they need to hurry up and let her out of the hospital. She wasn't sticking around. And she told them they could forget the treatment because they finally decided there was some kind of a treatment. It was some kind of radiation or some form of chemo. And they recommended that she do that to potentially add some time. And she told them they could stick it where the sun didn't shine because she wasn't going to spend what time she had left being sick all the time. So that was her choice. That was her decision. And they eventually sent her home, and she still went on Thursdays with Dad to go see their brother. And I should have made some slabs. Dadgummit. And then everything was fine. They still did their thing. They still, traded off with the cooking and all that kind of stuff. And then one day she was sitting there, and Dad had come to pick her up to go to Uncle's house, and she couldn't remember how to stand up. She knew how to stand up, but she couldn't make her brain work her body so that she could stand up. And it took her a while. And people are like, oh, well, just grab a hold of the walker and pull yourself up. And she's like, I know how to do it. I just can't make myself do it. What they were not understanding, which most people wouldn't, is that it's like the synapses in her brains weren't connecting. It's like the information was there, the muscle memory was there. I mean, she's in her 80s. She knows how to stand up. It's not that she didn't know how, but she couldn't. There was a connection that just wasn't quite. It's like there was a short. You know what I'm saying? It's like most of the time it's fine, but then every once in a while it shorts out. And that's kind of what happened. And she started getting really frustrated because that's a pretty simple process, for somebody who doesn't have. Now, if you're somebody that's in a wheelchair or you have some kind of debilitating like muscle disease or whatever, and, standing and walking is a thing, then obviously that would be an issue for you as well. But she didn't have that issue. She was physically just fine until the day she wasn't. And so that became a thing. And then it got to the point to where it scared her enough that she finally agreed to let hospice come out. And they were going to manage her medication for her so she didn't have to worry about it. And they were going to do physical therapy with her so that she wouldn't forget how to stand up. That was the goal. I don't know if they were able to do that, but that was the plan, was that they would be able to help her to the point that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh, the goal was to work with her enough that hopefully those connections would, like, click more often than not, is I guess what I'm trying to say. 3, 4, 5. And so that's what they were doing. And the other morning, she was perfectly fine. She was sitting up, she was laughing, she was talking to her kids, talking to her granddaughter, everything was fine. And then she just slumped over. 2, 3, 4, 5. And her daughters called the doctor, and the nurse showed up, and they put her on 4 different kinds of pain medicine. She was also coughing up some kind of a fluid, some kind of an acid from her stomach. And they put her on an anxiety medicine. They upped her morphine. And there were 2 other painkillers. And it was scheduled for her to have them every 4 hours. When they put you on that much pain med for every 4 hours, they don't expect you to wake up. And she didn't. She passed um, yesterday morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning. So, when I talk about, and I know people are like, oh my God, is she going to talk about that again? When I talk about how valuable your time is, I'm not just talking about wasting it doing this or that and the other. I'm talking about you don't have to be in your 80s. People at all ages have things happen. Good times with Scar. He was an athlete. He was active in participated in competition swimming. He had plans to compete for the Olympics. He wanted to be an Olympic swimmer, and this disease just hit him out of the blue, and now he's in a wheelchair. So you don't know. It could be something like that. It could be a car accident. It could be some psychopath coming into a school with a weapon. It could be anything. Uh, when I say time is valuable, I'm not saying that to be cliche. I'm not saying that to try to sound smart or philosophical. I'm saying that because she is not the first person I've lost, and she's not the first person I've lost quickly. Um, I really hope that everybody listening has no clue, has absolutely no clue what it's like to lose somebody, because that's a pain that you don't want other people to know. You don't want them to understand that. You want them to be ignorant, because there's some things that you can't truly understand, unless you experience it. And that is absolutely something that I do not want people to understand. I would prefer that people were ignorant, that they did not understand the pain of that kind of loss. So, I'm not saying that every moment of your life should be spectacular or will be spectacular. And I'm not saying that everything you do has to be world blowing or mind shattering or uh, anything like that. I'm just saying that does not look good. I'm just saying that how you choose to spend your time matters. And you may be a kid and you may think you have all the time in the world, and maybe you do. Maybe you are going to live to be 97, and maybe you will be healthy, and maybe you will be amazing and do great things and find a cure for cancer, and maybe you will have that kind of a life. But that doesn't mean that everyone you love is always going to be there with you. Some point, somewhere, some way, there's going to be loss. So my son and I are really close. But every time he leaves the house, or every time I leave the house, I say, see you later, love you, bye. Because it doesn't matter if I'm aggravated with him, it doesn't matter if he's aggravated with me. The last thing that we are going to say to each other is, I love you. Been doing it for 30 years now. So when I am gone, there is no doubt he will absolutely know that his mama loved him every single day. That doesn't mean we don't have disagreements, because we do. He gets on my nerves and I get on his nerves. That's called being human. But he will never doubt that I love him, ever. So, don't waste your time. Make sure the people around you know that you love them. Love yourself. Anyway, enough of that old lady talk. I just want y'all to understand that when I say that I really do appreciate the time you spend watching my videos, it's because I'm one of those people who truly understands how valuable time is. Because so many people in my life don't have it anymore. And I don't have that time with them anymore. And looking back on things that I did when I was young, I wasted a lot of what I had. So, it is what it is, what it is. I didn't bring those gates, did I? Tootie fruity patootie. Okay, we have let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this side and this side. Yeah, we can do both sides. That side, that side. And I'm sorry it was so sad. I'm not trying to make people sad. But I mentioned last episode that there was a lot going on in my real life. And I just wasn't ready to talk about it at the time. And I really am, to be honest, tired of talking about it. But I wanted to get it said so that people understood, and then I can move on and I don't have to talk about it anymore. And I don't have a problem talking about stuff like that. I'm pretty open book, except for like my personal information, obviously. My real name is not Lavella. I'm not going to share that kind of information. But I really am pretty open about just about every topic, and probably more open than people prefer. I'm probably willing to talk about stuff that other people really don't want to hear, but I just, that's just the way I am. I'm one of those people that I'm just like, okay, you know what? Let's put all the cards on the table, and let's see where we are. And if you don't like the cards I have on the table, or I don't like the cards you have on the table, then we're not going to waste each other's time. We're just going to move along and get on with our lives. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's not a matter of one person being better than the other person. It's just if you know if we don't have enough to in common to be able to. Um, wow, that was a perfect. We used every single letter just perfectly. If we don't have the ability to have a conversation, agree to disagree, or whatever, then oh, we need trap doors, don't we? Because I'm gonna fall down. No, I won't. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't think I like those being open. Yeah, let's make some trap doors real quick. I don't know if I have any made, but I doubt this is the only time we'll need them. And yes, I know there's the book and you can do all that. I actually am the kind of old school player that that wasn't always there. You young ones don't understand how lucky you are to have that. No. And I have always believed and still believe that that should be more like a vet reward kind of a thing. Like your account, you should have to have your account for at least 6 months, in my opinion, before you have access to that recipe book. I think that recipe book, I understand it's there to make things easier for people, but I think having to learn the recipes adds an element that I feel like makes the game a little more rich. You know what I'm saying? But that's my personal opinion. Okay, that's progress. Is it beautiful? Not really, but it's progress. We at least got something done. And my timer went off. I should be stopping right now. I have fly on. It's like flash fly. Oh, there's a ladder up there. On my Skyblock, I actually spent like $4 real money to have that perk, and I keep thinking I can just fly around. I'm having a hard time adjusting back to vanilla. That Skyblock is really a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying it, but at the same time, I'm kind of getting tired of it. It's it has a lot of plugins, and there's a lot of automated stuff, and there's a lot of stuff to make it easier. And I just I'm really an old school kind of girl, you know. So I'm not saying it isn't fun. I do enjoy it, but I'm just I don't know. I was really excited about it when I got started. Did we do? Oh crap! I think I did. Okay, just in case. I think I did, but just in case. I'm going to do this super fast. So if you are paying attention to this, you're just going to have to pause, 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 pause. Because I'm pretty sure we did this at the beginning, but now my brain is like, did we though? I think I did because I was talking about the only thing I had done was punch those blocks of dirt and eat a potato. So I'm pretty sure we did do this, but just in case, there we go. Okay. So, anyway, here we are. We didn't get a lot done, but it's progress, and it makes me feel better because I feel like we're actually doing something. So, we're going to come back, and we're going to keep working on it. Now, we're probably not going to do the roof anytime soon because my brain is melted. I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted from the real life stuff. So, trying to figure out how to do this roof is not on my priority list. We're going to do easy stuff for a little while till I get back in the groove. So, but anyway, if I made you sad, I apologize. That was not my intent. My point was you can have an amazing day one day and think everything is fine and you have all the time in the world, either for yourself or with somebody you care about. Or maybe an opportunity, and you're like, well, I'll take care of that later. And then out of the blue, everything changes. Time is important. What you do with it is important. How you prioritize it is important. You don't have to cure cancer tomorrow, and you don't have to feed the world tomorrow, and you don't have to solve world peace tomorrow. But just please give some thought to how you use your time. Please. It matters. It matters to you, and it matters to the people in your life. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now for realsies. Thank you for your time today. I honestly appreciate it, and we will see you later.